Hello, and thanks for tuning in. On this week's show, severe weather seems to be the common theme. Travis has a feature on the new Penn State Chase team, and across the Americas, flooding has been prominent. Also, we take a look into fracking and how the atmosphere is changing. Tom will join me later in the studio to let us know if severe weather is headed our way. This plus Weather Whiz quiz and Nature in the News, whether or not, starts right now. Welcome to Whether or Not. I'm your host, Christy Shields.
And I'm your forecaster, Tom Bedard.
Tom, we've seen quite a roller coaster here in Center County recently with the weather pattern. We've seen hot weather like summer, and then, it cooled off, and then we even saw a bigger change in cooler weather. What can we expect coming up?
Well, probably more roller coaster weather. We are in Happy Valley after all, and the weather is always crazy and a bit unpredictable here. At least for the next weekend and the beginning part of next week, I'm expecting to see our temperatures increase as a cold front comes closer on Saturday and then decrease as temperatures often do when that cold air mass is introduced on the tail end of that cold front. So we will get warmer, we'll get cooler, and then we will get warmer again as a ridge of high pressure comes towards Pennsylvania, so more crazy weather.
Well, Tom will have more on his forecast and a football forecast later in the show, but for right now, it's time for Nature in the News.
For half a decade, scientists have been traveling to Antarctica to research a remote region of the continent and how it will be affected by climate change. The scientists went to install scientific instruments to remove glaciers that they believed had a warm current of water underneath them, which is inadvertently melting the shelves. The shelves are in dangerous locations that no humans have had the opportunity to explore yet. The first two attempts to install the instruments were failures, but finally in 2012 the third attempt was successful. To collect the data, the researchers drilled into 3 separate locations on the Pine Island glacial ice shelf. This shelf is approximately 37 miles long, and by drilling, the scientists can see what is occurring underneath the shelf. The research showed melting was occurring, which they believe is due to changes in the south atmospheric circulation. They also recorded the ice melts 2.36 inches a day, which ends up being around 72 feet a year. The data matched up with Eric Rigno of the NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab's earlier predictions. Glaciologist Robert Blindschlatter hopes that this new information will help improve global climate models.
Speaking of climate change, research is now showing that fracking and drilling natural gas might not be as potent to the atmosphere as first believed. As Marcellus Shale continues to drill and frack in the state of Pennsylvania, this new study could calm some residents' nerves. The study was conducted by an environmental group along with 9 different energy companies. This combined effort showed that putting methane into the air is not as bad as burning coal. The Environmental Protection Agency earlier this year came to the same results, which were later published in scientific journals. The only caveat to these studies is that they are based on a best-case situation, and many companies currently do not produce gas as methodically as they should. Another study by the University of Texas showed that during the extraction of natural gas, only about 0.42% actually leaks into the atmosphere. Other environmental groups disagree with the findings of these studies, so only time will tell if they prove to be correct.
Cleanup efforts and rescues are still underway in Colorado. The number of calls and asks for air rescues have been diminishing as waters have subsided over the region. Around 580 people are still accounted for. However, this number continues to decrease as people are finally being able to reconnect. As of now, only 6 have deceased due to horrific flooding. Ground crews continue looking throughout the Colorado foothills for more survivors, and they also plan to survey roadways, railways, and bridges that were damaged. So far, the assessment has accounted for 30 bridges that have collapsed and over 400 miles of highway that are still obstructed. President Barack Obama has given this area a declaration of disaster with funding of $5 million. That funding total could increase in the next months as more information comes in about the damages. If you'd like to help Colorado in their efforts to bounce back from the devastation, you could donate to the American Red Cross by going to their website.
Colorado isn't the only place that has been experiencing flooding. Our neighbors to the south, Mexico, have also had devastation. As the hurricane season finally ramped up, Mexico was hit by Tropical Storm Manuel on one side and Tropical Storm Ingrid on the Gulf side earlier this week. Tropical Storm Manuel dumped buckets of rain on the city of Acapulco, which is known for its tourism. Manuel flooded the airport terminal, which made travel into and out of the city near impossible, considering most roadways were also underwater. Over 40,000 tourists were trapped in the city during this time. Tropical Storm Ingrid caused an overflow of people into emergency shelters. Over 9,000 people looked for shelter in Veracruz, Mexico. From the torrential rains these storms brought, they created many landslides. The rains also left thousands without electricity and clean water. As of now, 47 people have perished from these storms. The last report of the two tropical storms hitting Mexico simultaneously has not occurred since 1958, according to a Mexican meteorologist. Tom, could we see any flooding here in Centre County coming this weekend?
Thanks, Christy. And now let's take a look at the weekend's forecast to find out if we have any severe weather or any flooding in the forecast. Starting off on Friday, looking like a nice calm day. The interaction between a high pressure system and a low pressure system, which will be slowly moving westward towards central Pennsylvania, will allow our temperatures to dip up above average and introduce some additional humidity into the area. Now that humidity and warm air is going to allow for our atmosphere to destabilize a bit, and when it does so, we'll see the opportunity on Saturday for severe thunderstorms. Now the time frame for these thunderstorms could play around for the football game. They might be closer towards halftime or the end of the football game. If you are tailgating or at the football game, keep posted any security personnel or any digital signs around. If there is a threat for lightning, you will be warned. That being said, keep an eye out to the local National Weather Service products to see if a severe thunderstorm warning is issued. Now this threat for severe weather is going to move out of the way on Sunday as we have the front just barely past our doorstep. When it does so, we're going to remain cloudy, but our temperatures are going to drop down a bit, just a touch below average, and as we often are after fronts, there could be some lingering showers around the area. Though that's not the case early on Friday, 76 degrees before the clouds start building into the area. Now we'll be warm as we get closer to Friday night. We'll still be a bit warmer than we're used to with some of these cooler nights we've had recently. 55 degrees and very much so the calm before the storm. Now those storms are expected to come on Saturday around the time that we're expecting the football game. So 73 degrees in the afternoon, not too warm because the clouds are going to help block some of that solar radiation with a strong afternoon thunderstorm. So keep posted. Don't allow yourself to get into a dangerous situation where there's lightning nearby. 62 degrees on Saturday night, cloudy and windy. Those windy conditions will die down a bit on Sunday as we get closer to the afternoon when we'll hit the high mark of 68 degrees, but lingering showers throughout the area. All in all, not a great weekend, but not an awful one at that.
Ever seen Mother Nature in all her glory and see a mothership glide across the heartland, which could at any moment drop a terrifying tornado directly in your path?
Some severe weather junkies have the passion and drive to chase these powerful storms with the hopes of improving tornado warning times and educating themselves on these life-threatening, towering beasts of Mother Nature.
Last June, 7 founders of the PSU Storm Chase team head out to the Midwest and did just that. Covering nearly 4,000 miles in less than 8 days, the team chased down tornado-warned supercells with experienced storm chaser Jason Berry. The team witnessed thrilling storm structures across the northern plains and made memories to last a lifetime. Now that they've all been reunited with the start of courses, the club has officially been recognized by Penn State.
The main goal of this Storm Chase Club is to take a 10-day trip out to the Midwest after the second semester in the spring, especially in May. We'll hope to go for 10 days to go chasing, to teach our members how to chase in that terrain or in that area. Hopefully we'll take a good 5 to 10 members out there every year, along with some of the officers out there. We'll lead them on their own storm chasing trip, because it's a dream for most student meteorologists to go out there. Every kid dreams of seeing a tornado or chasing a tornado.
Though you can certainly have tornadoes any month of the year, severe weather here in central Pennsylvania quickly diminishes during September, seeing an average of 2 tornadoes and 21 wind damage reports for the month. For that reason, PSU Storm Chase has another interest to keep the heart of the club beating during off-season, inviting experts in the field of meteorology to speak about severe weather forecasting tips and experiences. Last week, for example, they invited Henry Margaciti from AccuWeather to spill his wealth of knowledge on Mother Nature's wonders.
Speakers, we feel, can be great educators, and while we feel like we can also enlighten the rest of the group on some things, we figured that the externalities of guest speakers do add a lot to it. And we also are going to try and have a Skywarn session, because if you're going to be out chasing storms, it's good to know what you're chasing, how to identify some things. So Skywarn training sessions are also a high priority for everybody in the club.
PSU Storm Chase team is in its infancy, but plans to head out west next May are already in the making, and the club has more than quadrupled in size since last year to now include more than 70 members.
I feel like we got the ball rolling. We did the hard work. We got the ball rolling for this club. Now I'm hoping that we do our jobs as the exec board to get the younger blood now on board with Sioux Chase, and that they can carry on this newborn thing for years to come. That's my hope for the future.
With intentions to continue chasing any interesting and impacting weather across the Commonwealth, you can go along for the ride too. If you follow the team on Twitter at PSU Storm Chase, or if you check out their website full with blog posts and updated trip information at psuchase.org. For Weather or Not, I'm Travis Patterson. Keep on chasing.
Now let's take one more look at the weekend and get a taste of what we might see next week. The weekend is not looking too great. On Friday, we'll start off okay, 76 degrees in the afternoon with a sunny sky with some mixed in clouds during the day. Those clouds will start to increase later on in the afternoon and over the overnight hours. Those clouds will stick around into Saturday as a cold front pushes through the area. So if you're tailgating or going to the game on Saturday, expect the sky to be cloudy with thunderstorms coming in the mid to late afternoon hours, only getting up to about 73 degrees because of the cloud cover present throughout the day. Now, we're not going to get too warm after that front passes on Sunday either. 68 degrees with some of that moisture lingering in the lower atmosphere, so we could see an on and off shower with some predominant cloud cover on Sunday. Now, the moisture is not quite gone yet. Looking into the early part of next week, Monday and Tuesday, some lower atmospheric moisture still present, which could give us a shower or two, but more cloud cover than we will see on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And as a ridge of high pressure moves up towards the east coast on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll begin to see our temperature warm a couple more degrees above average with less moisture in the atmosphere, which means more sun and less clouds.
Well, Tom, it's sad to see the sun go away for a home football weekend.
Absolutely. I work a lot of these football games, and it's sad that I won't be able to get a tan while I'm outside working on the grounds. Though I will say, even though it's cloudy and it will be cool on Sunday, I'm glad to see that we're not having any tropical weather. We're not experiencing anything like Mexico is at the current moment. So we're not worried about flooding, and we're not worried about tropical systems, and I'm happy about that for the moment.
Speaking of tropical systems, that does bring us to our Weather Whiz quiz, which stated, maximum wind speeds in tropical systems are recorded as maximum blank wind speed by the National Hurricane Center. A, 1 minute, B, 2 minute, C, 5 minute, or D, 10 minute. And the answer is A, 1 minute.
That's right, Christy. The National Hurricane Center uses the maximum 1 minute wind gust inside of a hurricane, and they use these radio dropsondes inside of hurricanes to really give the public and to give themselves a good idea of how strong that hurricane is. Now, these wind speeds do dictate whether it's a tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane, but it is not actually the wind speed that is present throughout the entire hurricane. It's just the maximum wind speed that they found in those 1 minute bursts.
Well, it's good that we won't be seeing any hurricane-like winds here in State College. during the weekend. So for now, I'm your host, Christy Shields.
And I'm your forecaster, Tom Bedard. Go Penn State.